Three European giants are circling, their scouting departments working overtime, and a 25-year-old striker's contract situation has just turned into one of the most fascinating transfer sagas unfolding right now across the Atlantic. Welcome to Lions News Fan Report, your dedicated source for every breaking development, every strategic insight, and every piece of analysis you need about the sports world that matters. I'm bringing you exclusive coverage today that connects directly to how elite organizations operate, how timing creates opportunities, and how the transfer market dynamics we're seeing in European football mirror the calculated decision-making that championship-caliber franchises, like our Detroit Lions, employ every single day. The parallels between European soccer's transfer windows and the NFL's roster construction are more relevant than most people realize, and today I'm walking you through a situation developing in Turin that exemplifies everything we talk about on this channel. Strategic planning, contract negotiations, asset management, and the high-stakes chess match that happens when multiple elite organizations compete for the same elite talent. Stay with me because what I'm about to reveal involves Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Manchester United, and a striker whose contract situation has created the exact type of competitive bidding war that smart organizations dream about exploiting. Let me set the stage for you because understanding this situation requires looking at the bigger picture of how professional sports organizations handle contract negotiations and player valuations. Juventus, one of Italy's most decorated clubs, finds themselves in a position that every franchise dreads. They have an elite talent, a proven goal scorer who's been delivering at the highest level, but they're facing the reality that his contract expires in less than 6 months. That timeline is critical because in European football, once a player enters the final 6 months of their contract, they can legally negotiate with other teams and potentially leave for absolutely nothing in the summer. No transfer fee, no compensation, just a free transfer to whoever offers the best package. This is where the story gets incredibly interesting and where those organizational parallels I mentioned come into sharp focus. Juventus and Vlahovich, the 25-year-old Serbian striker who's been Juventus's attacking focal point, is currently earning €12 million per season. That's roughly $13 million annually, making him one of the highest-paid players in Serie A. Juventus wants to keep him, but they're unwilling to continue that salary level moving forward. They've proposed an extension on reduced terms, essentially asking Vlahovic to take a pay cut to remain in Turin. And here's where it gets complicated, because Vlahovic and his representatives are looking at that offer and then looking at the interest from three of Europe's wealthiest, most prestigious clubs who are absolutely willing to pay top dollar. Barcelona's interest makes perfect sense when you analyze their current attacking situation and long-term planning. The Catalan Giants are coming off a spectacular season where they won the league and cup double under Hansi Flick, but they're always thinking about the next phase, the next evolution of the squad. Their current striker situation requires attention, and adding a player of Vlahovic's caliber, especially on a free transfer, represents the kind of opportunistic move that elite organizations capitalize on. When you can acquire a proven goal scorer without paying a transfer fee, suddenly you're allocating those saved resources to other areas like wages, bonuses, or additional signings. That's smart asset management, and it's exactly the type of calculated decision-making that separates championship organizations from mediocre ones. Bayern Munich's involvement adds another layer of intrigue to this developing saga. The German powerhouse has always operated with ruthless efficiency in the transfer market, identifying value and striking decisively when opportunities present themselves. They've built dynasty after dynasty by making smart acquisitions, developing young talent, and occasionally swooping in to take advantage of contract situations exactly like this one. Vlahovic fits their profile perfectly because he's in his prime years, he's got the physical attributes to dominate in the Bundesliga, and he represents exactly the type of clinical finisher that complements their possession-heavy chance creation system. The fact that they're seriously monitoring this situation tells you everything about how highly they rate him. Manchester United's interest might be the most fascinating of the three because it speaks to their ongoing transformation and the type of impact signings they're prioritizing. The Red Devils are clearly in rebuilding mode, trying to construct a squad capable of competing for Premier League titles and making deep Champions League runs. They need goal scorers, they need players who can handle the pressure of performing at Old Trafford week after week, and they need proven quality that doesn't require years of development. Vlahovich checks every single box. He's scored consistently in Serie A, one of the most tactically sophisticated leagues in the world. He's performed in Champions League matches against elite competition. And most importantly, he's reaching that perfect age where experience meets peak physical condition. The financial implications of this situation are staggering when you really break them down. Normally, a striker of Vlahovich's quality and age would command a transfer fee somewhere in the 70 to 90 million euro range, maybe even higher depending on how desperate the buying club is. But because of his contract situation, that entire transfer fee disappears, which means Barcelona, Bayern, or United could theoretically offer significantly higher wages since they're not paying Juventus anything. That's where the bidding war aspect comes into play because now you've got three incredibly wealthy clubs competing purely on salary packages, bonuses, contract length, and sporting project. Whoever presents the most compelling combination of financial incentives and championship aspirations wins the race. From Juventus's perspective, this represents a catastrophic failure in contract management and squad planning. Allowing a player of this caliber to run down their contract without securing a renewal or arranging a sale is exactly the type of mistake that sets franchises back years. They're facing the very real possibility of losing their star striker for nothing, getting zero return on their investment, and having to replace him while also dealing with the financial and sporting implications of that loss. It's a cautionary tale about the importance of staying ahead of contract situations, maintaining open communication with your best players, and making difficult decisions before leverage completely shifts to the player's side. The Detroit Lions connection here, and why I'm covering this on Lions News Fan Report, is because these same principles apply directly to how NFL teams manage their rosters and handle contract negotiations with star players. Think about situations where teams have franchise-tagged players, where contract disputes have led to holdouts, or where organizations have had to make difficult decisions about paying market value versus letting talent walk in free agency. The mechanisms are slightly different between the NFL and European football, but the fundamental tension between organizational financial prudence and player market value remains identical. Smart teams anticipate these situations, they plan proactively, and they avoid getting caught in positions where they have no leverage. Tottenham Hotspur and Atletico Madrid have also been mentioned as potential destinations, though the focus remains primarily on the big three of Barcelona, Bayern, and United. The fact that 5 major European clubs are circling tells you everything about Vlahovic standing in the game right now. This isn't a player whose best days are behind him or someone taking a step down in his career. This is a legitimate star entering his prime who happens to be available because of contractual circumstances. The feeding frenzy we're witnessing is the natural result of elite talent becoming unexpectedly accessible. Vlahovic himself has been relatively quiet throughout this entire saga, which is probably the smartest approach for him and his representatives. Speaking publicly would only complicate negotiations and potentially alienate parties who might be offering lucrative contracts. Instead, he's letting his agents handle the business side while he focuses on performing on the pitch for Juventus, maintaining his value, and keeping all options open. That professionalism and focus, even amid massive uncertainty about his future, demonstrates the mentality of a true professional who understands how to navigate complex career decisions. The timeline is absolutely critical here because we're rapidly approaching that January window where Vlahovich will legally be allowed to sign a pre-contract agreement with non-Italian clubs. Once that happens, Juventus loses whatever minimal leverage they still have, and the bidding war intensifies exponentially. Barcelona, Bayern, and United will all be presenting their visions, their financial packages, and their sporting projects, trying to convince Vlahovich that their club represents the best next step in his career. It's going to be fascinating to watch this unfold over the coming weeks, and I'll be here covering every development, every twist, and every strategic maneuver. Now I want to hear directly from you, because your perspective matters in this community. Drop a comment below and tell me where you think Vlahovich ends up. Are you betting on Barcelona and that attacking project under Flick? Do you see Bayern's systematic approach winning out? Or does Manchester United's history and Premier League prestige seal the deal? And more broadly, what lessons do you think NFL teams like our Lions can take from situations like this regarding contract management and maintaining leverage with star players? Let's have that conversation in the comments. To wrap this all up, here's my analysis of this entire situation. The Dusan Vlahovic contract saga represents a perfect case study in how contract situations create opportunities for elite organizations while simultaneously exposing poor planning by the team losing the player. Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and Manchester United are all positioned to potentially acquire one of Europe's best strikers without paying a transfer fee, which represents extraordinary value in today's inflated market. For Vlahovic, this situation gives him incredible leverage to secure a massive contract while choosing a destination that aligns with his sporting ambitions. And for us as fans who follow organizational strategy and roster construction, this serves as a reminder that proactive planning, maintaining communication, and avoiding contract standoffs are essential elements of sustained success at the highest levels of professional sports. Make sure you subscribe to Lions News Fan Report right now for comprehensive coverage of not just the Lions, but the broader sports landscape and how elite organizations operate across all leagues. Hit that subscribe button, activate notifications, and join our community of dedicated fans who understand that learning from the best practices and mistakes of organizations worldwide makes us smarter, more informed supporters. Share this video with everyone who appreciates strategic analysis, engage in the comments with your predictions, and let's continue building the most insightful sports community on YouTube. This is your home for analysis that goes deeper than the headlines, and I'm here every day bringing you that perspective. One pride always.